Welcome to episode 49 of this Let's Play series. We're playing Dwarf Fortress. My name is DasTactic. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the series. Now, a few things. I've actually locked another person in this area just to... this is our furnace operator, just going back in to just take more of the bits and pieces now off all of the different people that we have in through here. So I did the trick I did, I guess, just as a quick summary. I should have sort of shown it, but I just essentially just marquee selected the different areas. Now, there is actually another area back in through here where we're seeing the wheelbarrow on top, but there is actually another one back in there. And you'll notice that all of these are no longer... Actually, I might just show you this again, I think, just because it's so important not to leave them. Like if I take that one there as an example, those two there, if I go back into this designation application for dumping, if I go and sort of do this, we then see that because we're in a stockpile, these will both be dumped. Now, when I first look at this one, I'm thinking, okay, it's just a wheelbarrow. So you've got to be very, very careful that when you do go into it, that you are actually not just, like the wheelbarrow you don't want to be dumping either, but also this one through here. You've got to make sure that you undump all of these. Now, there is an easy way to do this undumping. Once you actually marquee selected everything that you need to, that you can see in these zones, just go up to your stocks if you've got a broker, and then just go down to cages, essentially. So cages back in through here, and then you'll get a summary of all the cages. You can just have a quick look through these areas and just see anything that's highlighted, and we should have two that are highlighted. There's one, just unclick that one through there, and then just unclick the second one. So as long as there's no other cages designated for dumping, we're actually okay. So you can very quickly just go through and click all the way through to sort of get what you need done. Now, so that's the cages done. And inside there will still actually be, like if we have a look at this one here, this is Bemble. So if we have a look at Bemble's equipment as an example, I've only just started this thing, so Bemble should still have a lot of the equipment. Just sort by name, Bemble, have a quick look at the items, and then we can't tell from here whether it's been set for dumping, but the iron short sword, have a quick look at that one, and yes, it's still set for dumping. So that way we know that all the stuff will eventually be taken away, by locking this person in. It's the only task left for them to do is to take the stuff off these guys here. So I'm just going to let them continue on, just sort of grabbing more and more of these. It's a lot of work to do. There's a lot to actually get done. I just got to remember not to leave this person locked in this particular room. Now, a few other little things that we've got. I have let the game run forward a little bit. So somebody that's a herbalist. We're smelting more and more iron. I do have to get on top of my military, actually. We'll be doing that one fairly soon. I don't think I'll wait too... Actually, another way with using this stockpiles, what we can do is we can just do a search. Like at the moment, I'm wanting to get enough steel to build all the equipment that I need out of steel, but I also have to practice getting good at smelting, at building things. So it's one of these processes where I want things out of steel, but I also want to make sure that my weapons end up being really, really high quality. And so I'm just going to type in steel. I can then start to see all of the things that are made out of steel. So ammunition, I've got like a lot of it. Armor, I've got like a lot of armor in through here as well. It's just six in through this side. So I've got these in through here. Like anything large I can't use anyway. And so what I can do is if I want to, actually these are all, most of these are still being worn by the creatures. It's anything that's got like this forbidden symbol would have been killed recently outside. So these are outside. But I can just go ahead and actually go and I can see where they are if I'm wanting to, or just, basically untoggle them if I need to. But I've got so many things I'm bringing in from inside. It's not funny really. Footwear back into here again, large. I can't use those. This must be in the fortress somewhere, I'm guessing, if it's not forbidden. Then we've got different steel low boots. Now I can actually just wear them anyway. Large steel low boots. I can't wear anything large. So these are wearable, but they're not good quality. So these are not great. These are forbidden, so these will be outside, I would imagine. Handwear as well. Again, I can just see all of the different stuff made out of steel. Now, it's not enough for me to actually have a full-on, to create like a full armed group of 10 dwarfs with all of this equipment. But it's a start. It's a start. This actually is poor quality. This one here, not poor quality in its design, but it will be maybe dented or dinged around. So that one's... we can actually have a look at that one in just a minute. I might have a look at that just to sort of see what it does say. This one's exceptional. or has got carvings in it. So it may have like a special type of carving with this sort of designation in through there. Legwear again, large steel chain leggings, just can't make use of it. So I need to make these into bars. Like I need to melt them back down again, and we can do that just by clicking on these melt icons. But again, if they're designated this way, it means that they're still being worn by the creatures. So we need to get them out of there first of all. And actually, they may already be in the dump. That could also then indicate that they've been dumped away, and then they're ready to be sort of grabbed in through there. Shields and bucklers. There's a fair few of these, actually. That's interesting. Yeah, so there's a few of these we still need to get off the creatures. And weapons. We've got a few different sorts of things, but none of it's very good quality. So it's not great quality. And we don't really... So maybe I do start off with iron and then move them up to steel when I've got enough steel. We will eventually do that anyway. Maybe we'll set that up in this episode. Actually, there's a few things I wanted to do this episode, but one of them was to just show you how you can use the stocks to sort of find all of this, everything made out of steel. Now, that's not enough for me to be able to really make use of anything. So I'll just right-click out of that one through there, but I'll just keep on bringing all that away. It's all very, very valuable to us. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about, actually, what's this stray mule doing up through here? Just go to F3, F4. Yeah, F4. It should be out here. It may have come with the last population grouping, so I just want to make sure that it is designated for in here. Anything that's grazing, a grazing animal. We're not seeing anyone that's actually hungry out here, which is good. I'm now going to see all of the different sorts of creatures. We've got stray dogs around the place, different goblins, all sorts of things now. All of these different creatures, and then I think that they came after this. Yeah, the stray mule. Okay, we'll just bring that one back in. I've also got a stray kitten and stray puppy. I'll bring them back in as well. All right, so that's all of those done. Right, F5, which then takes us into the middle of the fortress. I've now set these up as the zones, this is now the bedroom zone of the captain of the guard, the office of the captain of the guard, and then the dining room of the captain of the guard, plus all of the associated furniture that he requires. And so this is so that when we do interrogations, and I do want to talk about this because we can now sort of do all sorts of different things with our justice system. So let's actually do a little bit of work with the justice system right now. The justice system is very, very powerful, but very, very frustrating, particularly if you've named your dwarves. So I'm going to go through a fairly massive tip on how to sort of find people. Now, actually, I'm not sure. I might just double check that I've gone back to the default. So just bear with me. All right, so I've reset it back to the way the game has it by default, just so I can show you the problem. Now, if we go into the justice system down through here, which is this J key, or just clicking on that button through there. Oh, there's no open cases, damn it. Okay, it's already happened. There is a cold case. This is unsolved, actually. Okay, if it goes on for too long, it basically after a year it becomes a cold case. But it's actually still not bad because we can still actually access it. I thought it was actually still an open case, but it's not. It's a cold case, which means we can still interrogate. Now we can use anything as an excuse to find out information. And so what you really want to be doing is going through your whole fortress and interviewing everyone slowly over time. And so these cold cases are ideal for this. If there's someone that you're not sure about, just interrogate them. And you don't have to just do it once either. And so we can see through here, there was a witness, Einod Wandered Glove, was the actual witness to saw that the object was missing. Now, this is an object that was outside. So it's the only person that noticed that this had been dropped during one of the sieges by a visitor, and then it was no longer there afterwards. So somebody has come in and stolen it and then left the map with it, but it wasn't ever really one of ours. So it's not really a big deal from our perspective. But if one of our artifacts gets taken, then that's going to be a big deal. And there'll be all sorts of other plots, as we sort of saw when we were looking at the Legends mode quite some time ago now. We saw that there was massive plots and massive wants for the artifacts, and as we get more and more visitors coming into the fortress to go to the temple, they will then start to talk amongst themselves about that, and then criminal organisations out in the world will then start to target the fortress and start to then get agents. Now, some of our dwarves will most likely already be agents of these people. And so we need to find those agents and essentially correct their ways. And unfortunately, our captain of the guard is not very proficient. He doesn't have any sort of talent in tactical skills, which is actually what's required by the captain. And so he's not going to be very good at interrogating, but we still got to just do it anyway. So we can either interrogate or convict. Now, let's just look for Einod Wandered Glove as to interrogate Einod Wandered Glove as an example. Now, if I go to look through here, I can start to sort of just search through. A, it's not in alphabetical order. B, you can't search for it, and so you then got to go through just name by name looking for the actual name itself. Now, this isn't too onerous because eventually you'll find them, but it's there we go. Now, there's an Einod there. That may or may not be Einod Wandered Glove or whatever it was, but this is Einod Legenreg. So we know that this is a different name. So we don't know exactly if this is the right person. We'd have to then keep on having a look through and see if there's any other Einods, and it may even be somebody that's not even in the fortress. So you can see all of these people in the fortress. We then have people who died in the fortress. We then actually have all of these other creatures that we've either captured or who are visitors as well. So we've got like visitors, we've got ghosts, like a ghostly merchant that's arrived as well. All sorts of different things that are actually in here that we can actually then go and actually either convict or interrogate. Now, we can't really interrogate these people, but we can still convict them of crimes if we needed to, or even dead people. We can actually just to close off the case, we can say, okay, that person was guilty, and that then satisfies the fortress. Even the animals down through here at the very, very bottom will be available. Oh, there's a Gorlak. I don't know where that Gorlak is. Anyway, there's a Gorlak in there. God, it's a funny game. It's just a strange game. There's troglodytes. These are deceased. So these are all more of the things that were sort of being killed. Again, we can blame the troll for anything we want to do. So these are all the deceased. And we've got heaps of deceased. But down the very, very bottom is going to be all the animals of the fortress. Now, be careful blaming an animal. It actually makes everyone unhappy. So, like when you actually, everyone knows, okay, like yes, you convicted an animal, but it shouldn't have been done. So these are here both for the interview and the conviction, just so because you can convict them if you do need to. Oh, there's a Drunian. It's a real who's who, isn't it, of all sorts of different creatures, weird and wonderful creatures. Helmet snakes, which were killed. Very cool indeed. Giant cave toads, all sorts of stuff. Anyway, there's a big, long list. But to find the person, if you're naming your dwarves, and let's go to Einod and actually have a bit of a look at Einod. So if we have a look at Einod in through here, and we'll just go and name her so you can see the problem. If we name Einod, where is she? Should just do it by name. There we go. So if we go and have a look at Einod, this is indeed Einod Wandered Glove, because that's the anglicised or English sort of wording, whereas Legenreg is the dwarvish name. And so I wish the game was consistent. Like, this is so painful when it does this one. But if we name this one here into this, well, she's a planter, so let's just call her Green Thumb. Green Thumb will be her nickname. So her nickname is now Green Thumb Legenreg. Now, if we now try to find her, so we know in hindsight that this is actually the person, but if you were looking for her in the justice system and you went to cold cases and you thought, okay, Einod Wandered Glove is the one who we've got to find or we want to interview, and often they'll actually then pinpoint somebody as well and say it's with this particular person. If you wanted to interrogate her, now when we look through, there's not going to be any there that actually start with that same name. It's now just going to be having, I don't think it will. Where are we? I'm not actually seeing it there anymore. It should have come up. Where's Green Thumb? Oh, there we go. So Green Thumb, we don't even have the Einod anymore. So the big tip is so you can still find the first names, which are quite important. Just go back into your settings. Go to into the settings back in through here as well. Go to Game, and then scroll down a fair way until you get to nickname position in fort mode and nickname position in legends mode. Now, it's not that important in legends mode because you can search for anything you need and find what you need. So that's not critical, but certainly at the moment it's set to replace first. If you click on that one, you can be centralized, or it can replace the whole name. Now, you're better off just going to centralize. And what this one will do is it'll put Inod, Green Thumb, and then the surname, Legend Reg or whatever it was. And so if we now click on Done and return to the game, and then go back into our justice system, and then go back to our cold cases and interrogate, and we're now looking for Idun. And when we sort of come back through, we should then find her, Inod. And so it's Inod Green Thumb Legend Reg. It's sort of, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but God, it can be if you're naming all of your dwarfs. It's a big, big problem. And so we can actually say, okay, well, look, we want to schedule an appointment to interrogate her. And we might also have a look at a few other things as well. Like if you've got suspicious characters and you're thinking, I wonder what they're up to. You know, like if there's, if we go to F5, for example, and have a bit of a look at the group that's in here, is there anyone that looks weird, like this one here? This is a dwarf poet, fetid ghoul. Like, you know, who is this character? Is this an agent of Massive Steel, the tower? You know, we just don't know. This is a fetid ghoul. This is a dwarvish poet who is a ghoul, like an undead. If we go to look at the health and description, so it's a ghoul anyway. So like often you can tell by the weird colours. Like if they're like this, they can be vampires as well, like different sorts of creatures. But none of them look all that much like that they're anything that we have to really worry about. There's goblins in through here as well. Like there's this is Astruck, the goblin poet. For all we know, could be there trying to recruit people. And so we can actually ask these people as well. Like if we're going to look for Astruck, the Gomzalak, the goblin poet. Let's just target some of the goblins. There's another goblin over through here. This is this one here is A2 as well. So if we're looking for those two to interview, so we'll just go to justice, go to cold cases. This is why you need to have a case, and then you can really start to interrogate. So the first part of the fortress is going to be all of our guys. It is handy having all the stuff. We'll just go and shift scroll. That way we can sort of just go down bit by bit. Now we've got the goblin poet, Astruck there. Let's do that one. Interrogate. This is also a bit of a pain doing this sort of scrolling all the time because you do, it is hard to sort of catch them. You've got the goblin thieves, which we'd caught, which we don't want to interview anyone that we've actually got locked away. There's a goblin bard, for example, there. And so we can just go and start to get a few of them lined up for scheduling. And once that's actually been done, and also it is a very, very good idea to just start to schedule on a regular basis everyone in your fortress. So just get a few of them sort of queued up all the time, just so that you're asking questions, because you will find information about other things as well. Let's just go and get those done. So that's going to be like the interview aspect to it. If we go back and find the captain of the guard, where are we? Captain of the guard is there. So if we just go across to Thekut, we can see that Thekut is down in this area going to sleep. Oh, sleeping on there. Actually, that's not very ideal. Now it's going to interrogate Enod Green Thumb. So Enod Green Thumb was the first person he has to go and interrogate. So he's going to find the person in the fortress. That's why it's a good idea to have these near the common area. He's then going to take Enod to his office. So I've kept his office fairly central. There we go. He then has his interview. So he interrogates her, and then she's allowed to go again, and now he's going off to Astruck. So we'll just have a quick look and see what happens there. So off he goes to the next one, and asks him to come into his office for a little chat. Now, most of the people we're going to be interviewing will be around these big central locations. That's why having his office this close is actually a good thing. It just means he can do the interrogations nice and quickly in the office, and away he goes. All right, so that one's now done. Who have we got there? That's a trapper making a rock door. I don't know why they're getting the Gabbro from in here, but anyway, they are. So anyway, we've got that's the process of what the captain of the guard will now go and do. He'll just go through each of those people and start to ask questions. Now, when we go back to the justice system, we're going to see there's no more open cases, but sometimes you'll then find things out that actually lead to plots. And we'll look at this down the track when we do sort of find different things. If we go to the intelligence, we can then sort of see the actual reports of what was actually done. So he's interrogated Inod, Green Thumb, Legend Reg. Have a quick look at that one. So met with the subject, attempted to appeal to the subject's belief in harmony. Subject was cagey and refused to comply. So so he's not very good. Our captain of the guard is not a very good captain of the guard. He doesn't have the right sort of skills. So the subject didn't really give him any real information. So that's the first one. If we just go back and cross into interrogations again and just go back to the Cobbler and Poet. So met with the subject, appealed to the subject's belief in the law, subject value the law. Unfortunately, no new pertinent information was revealed. Now, sometimes they're just going to spill the beans about other things that they know. So over time, if you can just find any sort of case to do the interrogations, we can just schedule them up quite a bit. Now, of course, when there's something big happening, you can't. Oh, you can cancel, actually. So I'll just get like a handful of these done. I'll just do the first screen's worth, and then we can just sort of do the next one afterwards. So he's just going to go through, but it's not just your civilians that you can do this with. You can do it with anyone in the fortress. So if you're suspicious of somebody that comes in, particularly if you start to get information about different higher level criminal organisations that are targeting your fortress, you can start to look for signs and then sort of act on those. Anyway, that's where we are. Oh, someone's had a bit of an accident. A big pile of vomit on the floor here. Looks healthy. I don't know who that was. Anyway, that's somebody that he does enjoy standing around in it in bare feet, so that's not great. Next thing we're going to talk about is just getting things set up now for the military and what we can then go and do. Now, we're going to set up just basic equipment made out of iron. So I'm going to press F8. It is, unfortunately, the creatures can come out of this area. If there's magma crabs around, they will come up. And that's unfortunately is a bit of a problem. Actually, that's now all been sorted. Let's go and destroy this, because I noticed that they were coming out of this area through here, and so I'm just going to get rid of this as well. I just want to make sure that that's not nothing we can have to worry about. It's just going to come out of these forges all the way through. I think that these may still be secure, but the forges themselves, the smelters, can still have the magma crabs crawl out and then cause all sorts of drama. And also, if your people actually end up jumping back into that hole, like if they avoid a magma crab and jump in there, that's the end of them. So we may find that we end up with missing people over time. This thing is ready for pickup, for taking equipment back up to the top. We did that a fair few episodes ago now. So this one is still making lead chains and lead buckets. So let's go ahead now and start to sort of talk about what we need for our military. Now, we do actually have undead, but we haven't really had necromancers. So I think I'm going to make this fortress work with battle axes rather than hammers. Hammers and mauls. If we go and maybe we'll just do it actually from here and we'll just discuss it. If we add a new task, we can do weapons and ammunition, we can do armor, we can do furniture, siege equipment, trap components, other objects, metal clothing. There's all sorts of different stuff we can do. Now, armor, if we start we'll start with the weapons and talk a little bit about the actual weapons themselves that we can actually then go and build. And so we have there's certain things you can make weapons with, like iron, silver, copper, bronze, and steel. Basically, and bismuth bronze, adamantine as well, a few other little bits and pieces. But really, the basic ones are iron, silver, copper, bronze, steel, and bismuth bronze. Adamantine is a special case, which we will eventually do. Now, every single metal in the game has actually got it's got the real world aspects to it. So, for example, silver is heavy but dull, and it basically it's a heavy, blunt sort of force weapon. It's no good for sharpened edges. It doesn't keep a good enough cutting edge. Whereas iron and steel do have good cutting edges and also good weight. So they're actually they can be used for both. And we have a lot of iron in the fortress, so I might as well start making things out of iron. Now, also by having somebody just do this over and over and over and over again, they're going to get good at making equipment. And so we'll get them to sort of just start a process of building iron weaponry. Now, if I was going to make blunt force weapons, and if I was really going up against a lot of undead, and I probably will be, it's probably not a great idea for me to do this. I might actually mix it up and have hammers and or mauls, probably mauls more than hammers, and or maces. Sorry, maces, not mauls. So maces and axes. So let's just go with both of those. And so I'm going to make the maces out of silver, which is heavier than iron, and so it's going to do more blunt damage than the iron will. So I'm just going to go across to silver. In fact, what I'll do is I'll just have a look at it. You can see there's silver. We can make anything out of it. Like we can still make the battle axes, the short swords, so the spears, but these are all useless as silver. The good ones for silver are the maces and the war hammers. Okay, so they're the two that you want to be making out of silver. So we'd make eventually silver maces. I'll just go back and just go back in again, new task, so weapons. And then the other side is copper is okay at sort of anything. It's not great, so if you've only got copper, then by all means make your copper battle axes, because it'll still be okay. But iron is better than copper, steel is better than iron. So I'm just going to go like in iron. We can see again we've got the same sort of a mix. I think we've got anything extra there. No, we've got iron crossbows, so we can actually make the crossbows out of iron. We can't make them out of silver, so there's certain limitations on what you can and can't do. And so in this case, iron, like forge iron battle axe, there we go, we've got those. So there'll be our two weapons. So I'm just going to go across into here, work orders, set up a task at the Magma Forge, and in this case I'm just going to go and do battle axes. You can see there we've got all these different sorts of battle axes we can go and choose from, but it is easier to see the others. We're going to forge iron battle axes, and I'm just going to do this one, forge iron battle axes when we have, when iron battle axes, actually I won't even bother with that one actually. When iron bars is greater than, I might add that one into it, so we've always got like a lot of it, and we don't need refined coal because we're using magma, so we don't have to worry about the bottom one. I think I'll just keep on, maybe I don't know if I keep on tuning this one out. I might throw that one in as well. And so when the amount of iron bars is, now we've got heaps and heaps of iron bars. So I think I'm just going to go and change the number here to say 100. And for iron battle axes, I'll make this when the total iron battle axes is less than say 40, just so we've got like a lot of them. So that way we'll end up with a lot of them, and then we'll find the best ones to then give to our people, and then we'll go and remelt the other ones back down again, so we can sort of keep it in some sort of cycle. But that'll give me a good number of actual axes, and we'll just do 10 of them at a time. So that will be sort of how we handle that one. We'll do the same thing with the, if we just go back across to the, where is it, Metalsmith Forge. Now this sort of caters for both magma or coal driven. So we can just go back in. Now the other one we wanted to do was mace, and we want to do a silver, forge silver maces. We'll do the same sort of deal at the bottom through here. So forge silver maces, I'll do 10 of those. Now we don't have as much silver, so I'm going to make this one, I'm just going to say go to 5. So we just forge 5 of those. And we'll make this one we've got less that we have to really sort of then worry about. So if we go back into the parameters, when the amount of silver bars is greater than say 50, maybe 40, because I don't have very many, is greater than 40, and silver mace is available is less than, and so stop basically when it's, so amount of silver maces is less than 20. Let's just do it that way. Now they're both satisfied for the next check, so they will start to make these silver maces. So that will be our weaponry for our melee dwarves, and I want the melee dwarves done first. I may, you know, I think I might actually go and start to forge some of the iron crossbows as well. So I can just keep on sort of doing all of these different things. I'll talk my way through this. I mean, I'm just going to be going through now for the rest of this episode, just going through and discussing the different sorts of weaponry that we now want to start to have set up for what we're going to do. So we'll set up another an armed group for crossbows as well. Now the quality of the crossbow doesn't matter that much, and so I'm just going to set up like a 10, like build 10, and if there's less than 10, then start again type thing. So I'm just going to go to crossbow. Oh, hang on, we just go across again to the Metalsmith Forge, and now we can make them out of bronze, yeah, bronze crossbows in through there, copper, iron. So it doesn't really matter that much, but we don't have much copper. So I think I'm just we've got heaps of iron. Let's just make iron crossbows in this case. So we'll sort of go and do that one. Forge iron crossbows. Just come back down. I'll make 10 at a time. And we'll do this one when the amount of iron crossbows is less than 10. And when the amount of iron bars is greater than, again, I'm just going to change this one to 100. Just so that we still have like parameters that we look after, where we're always going to have like a stock of iron. Now that's not ever going to be a problem in this fortress. We're never going to even get close to getting through all the iron that we actually have. Unlike other fortresses, like if you start near a volcano, you're going to have a different problem. Iron won't be as easy to find. Okay, so we've got that one through there. Now the next thing we're going to need for the iron crossbows are bolts. So let's just go across, add them in. And so we can just type in, again, I'll just go down to the metalsmith forge. There's so much stuff that we can get from here. So this is under ammunition. So you can see there we've got bronze bolts. I'm actually happy with copper bolts. I mean, iron bolts will be okay as well. Let's just use iron bolts in this instance. They are going to punch through better into armor than copper, but nowhere near as good as steel. Eventually we'll make steel. So we'll go to iron bolts in through this side as well. And we'll make them, so let's just say that we're going to get, say, 40 of those at a time. And we'll just go and change the parameters here. When the amount of iron bolts is less than, say, 100. Whoops, 100. And the amount of iron bars is greater than 100, or greater than, say, 200. So we may find another metal that we want to make them out of if at some point, but that will be our iron bolts. We've got so much iron, we might as well use it. So we're not going to be scrimping on that one. That gets our weaponry under control for what we need for the fortress. Now we have to talk about the actual armor itself. And this is actually, there's a bit to digest here. Like, how much armor do we actually need? And at a bare minimum, you want to be covering the basic parts of the body, and it's complex the way it sort of does work. So let's go back through. We'll just go and get rid of this again and just go to one of these again and just have a look and see if we add a new task and we go to armor, there's a lot that we can choose from. So if we go to iron again, you can see all the different things that we can make. Now shields are a bit of a given. The thing you've got a difference through here though is you've got shields and bucklers. They're the two different types of shields. A buckler is smaller, whereas a shield is much, much larger. So the shield if you've got the choice between the two, go for the shield. So the shield is one of the things we're going to be wanting to have. Then we have all sorts of different things, like the iron breastplate will just cover the central torso that you've actually then got. It won't cover your shoulders or your arms or anything like that. The iron cap will then cover your head. The iron helm will cover the head, I think, a little bit further down. So the helm versus the cap, it's better to go with the iron helm. The greaves will then sort of cover your groin area. The gauntlet will cover your hands up to your elbow, so you can sort of get them up to your elbow with the gauntlets. So greaves, helms. The high boot will cover up to your knee, so the high boot will be to your knee. The low boot will be to your ankle. So sometimes there's problems getting them to change their shoes over when they're using high boots, but the high boot will protect at least their cuffs. Then you've got iron leggings as well. So if you went with low boots with leggings, that would then sort of do the same sort of deal as a high boot essentially. The leggings, I think, go up to your thighs. So I think they go a little bit higher up. But the greaves, if you're using greaves, then the leggings would sort of, I think that's how that would then work, is the greaves would sort of do the same job if you're using high boots. So you've got to sort of think, which way are we going to go with this one through here? The male shirt is a good one because what it does is it actually goes down to your elbows, so down to where when your gauntlets start, and will also go essentially down to where the greaves then take over. So the minimum that we are going to need, really, if we don't bother with the breastplate, we can just go straight for the male shirt for the main part of the protection, a shield, high boot, which means we don't have to worry about low boots or leggings, the iron helm, which means we don't have to worry about the cap, or we just greaves and gauntlets. So there's still a lot we have to then go and build to actually deck out the guys. So we'll just go back across and start to now get those. And I think I'm going to ultimately set up so that both teams, whether they be archer dwarves or combat or the melee dwarves just to wear the same equipment. So we'll end up just sort of starting to build this one, and we're going to have to now start the production of these. And so again, I'm just going to go back in. I'll start with the work orders in through here, and so I'm just going to go across and set up the. So I'll start at the top. We'll just go. Actually, I'll start with shields. It's sort of probably more. So I'm just going to go a forge iron shield. Now, when we get steel underway, we're going to then change it all over and get steel instead, and then we'll melt all the iron back down and then make steel out of it. So forge iron shield. Now 10 at a time is probably. I might make that say 20. So 20 at a time, and in this case, when the amount of iron shields is less than, say, 30, I just want to make sure I've got a bit of a stock of them in the fortress, and the amount of iron bars is, again, just greater than 100. That way I'm sort of always just covering myself a little bit with different things, so that will then do. Again, we don't need the refined coal with this at all. So that's done. So that's the iron shields. Okay, and then we come back through, metalsmith forge. So now we'll start to go through. So remember that we're talking about helms at the start, so let's just go and do that one. So helm, it is easier to go to the workshop and then have a look to see what's actually there and just try to remember what you then need. So we want to have an iron helm in through there. Again, I'm just going to go and set up the numbers. So we'll do, I'll do 10 at a time, and just set the parameters up so that if the amount of iron helms is less than, so we'll say 20, and the iron bars is greater than 100, so that way we'll just start to sort of crank out the iron helms, and that will be okay. All right, and go back. The next thing down was to then get the mail shirt, the iron mail shirt. So we'll just type in, just go back to Metalsmith Forge and mail. So the iron mail shirts in through this side. So this is heavy. They're going to be slow when they're walking around with this stuff, but it's going to protect them very, very well. So the iron mail shirts, we'll get 10 of those, and we'll do the same sort of deal. The amount of iron shirts available is less than, say, 20 or 30, doesn't really matter. And the iron bars we have is greater than 100 in this case, because we've got so many of them. Sometimes I wouldn't put anything in there if I really need to have stuff done, but in this case I just want to leave a bit of a stock of iron if available if we do need it. That's the iron mail shirts. Next, now go back down, add again, Metalsmith Forge. In this case, if I go and make the gauntlets, so GAU, this will be the iron gauntlets in through this side, and do the same sort of deal. If the iron gauntlets is less than, say, 20, and the amount of iron bars is greater than 100. Okay, that's the gauntlets done. Next is going to be, so we've now done the helmet, the like down to the elbows to the fingers are now protected. We've got the shields under control. We now go down to the greaves, which will then sort of be around the groin area. So we'll just do that one. So we'll just do the, just go to Metalsmith Forge, greaves, so iron greaves, and through this side, again, just go through the same sort of setup, 10 at a time. Amount of iron greaves is, say, less than 20. And the iron bars is greater than 100. All right. Then we've got, so that's the greaves. Now we've now need to do the high boots. So the greaves will then go down to where the high boots kick in, and that's it. So that's basically, it's complex, but that's basically the job. So Metalsmith Forge, and then high boots. So iron high boots back in through this side, and again less than, say, 20. Now, if you're wanting to sort of make sure that you try to just keep on recycling things, set it to a smallish number, and I may even go back and just quickly do that. It'll still, if I set it to sort of like do 2 or 3 at a time, it'll just go from item to item, and we'll be able to deck out like one person properly at least, so we can sort of slowly get it. Actually, I think that might be a better idea for us actually. So we'll just go back across with the iron bars and set this one up to 100. So at the moment, what would happen is it sort of gets put into the list of things to do. I think it will still cycle around, but it may be best to just have like a small amount done rather than a large amount. If we just go back across, I can then just go back through and have a look at all these different things. So we're forging 10 battle axes. Let's just make that one 5 as well. This is per order. Iron crossbows, we'll make that one 5 as well. Iron bolts, we'll make that one say 10 at a time. The iron shield, it'll still kick back in again. Let's make that one 5 at a time. The iron helm, we'll make that one 5. So we'll just get a small number of these done, but it'll keep on bringing the work order back out because it won't have enough of them in the fortress to then sort of go and do anything. There's the high boots, and that's everything. So when we have a look at this one, we've got the axes, the maces, there are 2 melee weapons, the iron crossbow and the bolts, there's our ranged weapons, the shield to protect all of them, and it says magma forge there, but that can be anywhere really. It's okay. I don't know why that one's been selected for that one there. The iron helm, the iron mail shirt. So we've got the helm, the shirt, the gauntlets, the greaves, the high boots. That should protect us from most sort of attacks, at least until, we can still take damage, but it is going to give us a lot of protection. Okay, so that's actually good. We're now sort of on the way to getting our military, which we should be able to do within a turn or two, I would guess, or like an episode or two. So we've gone over time, but that's good. We've got all those things now going to be established. They'll then end up being placed into here, and then ending up being placed back into the cart, and then moved up to the top of the fortress again, where we then have to distribute them. So I'll wait until we've got like a fair few of them up there. In fact, what we might do, I might do that one now actually. F3. This is where the track then ends up coming back up. And in here, I've got like a finished goods stockpile where we've got the types of armor, footwear. So we're actually putting all the armor in here anyway. So this is actually where we are putting the better the better stuff. Actually, we're not using this out of metal. It's not. This is actually just cloth. If we have a look at the other materials, it's just plant cloth, silk, and yarn. Okay, that's fine. So this is actually where we've got our clothing. Essentially, if we have a look into it here, you can see we've got like different socks and things like this, shoes. So this is just our normal clothes. What I might do is I might actually start to get our metal gear in here as well. So what I like to do with this, and what I might just do is just go back into this one and just repaint this. So we sort of bring this one over a little bit. We'll just bring that one over to say there. We don't need a very big one. And I'll then just go and accept, just repaint actually, and just do another bit where we then just to get rid of a little bit of this. So I'll get rid of, I'll just cut that one down to about there. I can actually sort of move it somewhere else. What I like to do with this is actually set up a sort of like half a person, and I'll show you what I mean. If I put if I do a stockpile, so what I like to have is, okay, I'm going to have like his head in through here. So I'll just accept, and this will be, again, this will be finished goods. So I'm just going to do all finished goods to start with. So that's actually okay. We then just go and add another one. So this is the head. Then we've got the body. So I'll just make this one a little bit fatter for the actual body itself. So this will be for the male shirts. And again, accept, finished goods. So we just start that way to start with. And then we go down to the greaves. So I'm actually create like a little person, sort of, or half a person essentially. So we'll just go back across this way. We go to, there is no, I'm pretty sure this is, actually there's armor there. It's just, they should be armor, not the other one. So I'll just go back across the other one and make them into armor. So this is going to be armor. So we've got the 2 lots of armor in through there. Then we go back and do another one. This will be for the greaves. Accept, armor. Then we do the legs. So I'll just go back across. So you can sort of see it looks a bit like a person. I mean, I could actually just go and put the foot in there, I guess, so that it sort of looks like it's like a bit of a shoe. Accept, and this will be armor as well. So we've got different armor in through that side. Then we're going to have the weaponry. So we'll actually do I'll do another one. So we'll just go plus, and we'll do like a hammer, or like a mace, I guess. So a mace like this. Actually, this looks more like an axe, doesn't it? Actually, I'll do the axe differently. So I'll accept that one. That's weapons. That way I can just very quickly sort of think, oh yeah, that was my mace. So I'll make that one into weapons. Now, I think the shields may be under armor, I think. But let's just go and create another one. So plus, in this case, we'll just go and make a an axe shape. Back in through there. Except this will be under weapons again. And then we'll make a shield shape. So that one's fine. So that'll be the shield. Now I probably should have moved them over a little bit. I might just do that afterwards, after we finish. I'll just go accept, and I'm pretty sure this is under armor. And so at least I can then just very quickly sort of see. Actually, I'll do it now. My OCD is going to annoy me if I don't do it. Oh, I forgot the gloves. Just put the gloves down through here as well. So accept, that will be under armor. So this then just gives us bins for the various stuff that we then want to have, and in this case we want this to be just iron at this point in time, maybe iron and steel. And so when we go through each of these, and I will just go through each of these now, so we'll just go across, and when I click on each of these different areas, it'll then sort of be like the various different sort of stockpiles that we actually have. So we'll start up the top through here, just go to custom, and so this in this case we're just going to be going purely, I'm just going to go to none. I'm going to then allow the head. I'm going to allow helms. So I'm just going to allow helms in through this side. Metal, and I'm going to just allow iron and steel. So I'll do steel. I'll also allow adamantine as well. Because if we do get adamantine, adamantine armor is awesomely good. So we'll just go with the ones that we're going to accept into this particular location. So adamantine, iron and steel, other materials none, core quality, I'm just going to go all at this stage, and total quality all, and only usable armor as well. So we'll just turn those little things on. And so this way we know that we're only going to get the helms that our guys can then go and access. So this will be where the helms end up going. So that one's done. Then we go to the next one, and this is going to be the same sort of deal. We just go back across into custom, just go to none. In this case, it's going to be for body. So it's going to be, in this case, it's going to be armor, male shirts. So I'll leave both of those on. It's really just the male shirts though that we're looking at through this side. Yeah, that'll still be okay, I think. Then we just go to metals, and again, adamantine, iron and steel. So they're the only ones we're going to allow into this one. The core quality, all. Now eventually I'm going to stop the low quality stuff from coming into here. We're going to end up with another stockpile down below for the standard quality, so we can remelt it. But we won't do that initially. We'll just get what we need initially, and then sort of deal with it after that. And this will be, of course, just be usable armor for us. So we just want to go that side. That one's done, and just keep on going through. So this next one will be the greaves. So none, and this one is technically, I think it's either legs or body. Greaves. Let's just go to legs. Yeah, there's greaves there. So we turn the greaves on. Metal, again, adamantine, iron and steel are the ones that we're going to allow. Core quality, all. Total quality, all. So total quality is when if they've been embroidered in some sort of way, like if you can sort of etch your symbols into it and anything like that. So usable armor in through there again as well. And so that then sets up the greaves, then the high boots at the bottom here. This will be none, and then we just go to feet, and we want high boots there, usable, metal, adamantine. If we end up getting adamantine armor, that's going to be very, very cool. But I don't even really want to even start looking for that one just yet until we've actually got a fairly well-established military in the fortress, because it is fraught with danger to go and look for the adamantine. Core quality all and total quality all. So we don't want to leave those off. That's important that we bring those back in. All right, that's the feet. Then we have the gloves. So we just go back across into here. None. This will be hands, and this will be gauntlets. So we go to the gauntlets in through this side, and then of course we go down to metal, adamantine, iron and steel. Of course, you may have copper in your fortress. It may be it may be all you've got to actually make use of. but just make sure you do get that core quality established and then usable. I don't know if I did that with the last lot. Just have a quick look. Yep, I did. That's okay. Then we've got the shields. So we'll just go back across. So custom, none. There's the shields through there. And so in this case, we just want to have shields turned on. Again, adamantine, iron, and steel. The guys will be slow with the iron because of the weight. If we do get adamantine, they're going to be fast. So if they're good fighters anyway, the adamantine is going to allow them to fight much, much faster than they would otherwise. And of course, the adamantine is also going to protect them better as well. So that's going to be okay, but we've got that one. And that's that one through there. Then we've got our silver mauls, and so our silver maces. I might add in hammers as well. So we just got silver weaponry. So we'll just go across into weapons, customize, none. So this will be weapons. Actually, what we want to have through here is either anything blunt damage. And I might even allow like maces and warhammers are the two that we really want to have there. So maces and warhammers. Oh, I forgot the bows. Actually, I'm going to have to put the bows in as well. So I completely forgot about them. And the bolts I'm going to keep. I might as well keep the bolts up here as well. So we'll just go weapons. This will be made out of metal. Now this is going to be made out of. It can still be made out of iron, I guess, but it will also then, of course, want silver in this instance, and steel possibly as well at some point. Platinum we can't make weaponry out of, so we can't actually use the platinum that we actually have to do that. Otherwise, that would be ideal. It's even heavier again than silver. So that one's done. Core quality, all. Total quality, all. And usable weapons. That's okay. I don't know if we have to put that on. I think it'll still work even without that. I'm not sure. I think the limitations will sort of... I think usable weapons is sort of like where you can just sort of go, okay, it'll just only usable weapons. It'll place it in there. So it'll be interesting to see if they do move other things back up into there. Then we've got the... so we've got that one through there. Next one we're going to have is the hammers. So none. Weapons will be the battle axes. I might put a few other little things into here as well, like the great axes. Long swords we can't use, but short swords we can. So let's place a few of these sorts of things in. Even spears. I might even put spears in here. I'll just throw them in there as well. Metal, again, we're just going to go with the up the top. Now we're never going to make weaponry out of adamantine. It's too light, so it's not good for weapons. It's a waste, so we won't be doing that. So iron, in this case, you'll see that we can't actually do it out of silver as such. Oh yes, we can make it out of silver, but we're not going to accept silver. We'll do the steel, and that'll do, I think. I mean, I could have like bismuth bronze or something which is sort of very similar to iron. Might just throw that one in as well, just in case we do end up with any of those, because we can find that in the goblinite and still make use of it. Core quality, all. Total quality, all. Usable weapons. Okay, so that one's now done. That's then got that one. The shields, did we do that one? Yep, looks like we did. Yes, we did. Okay, so and the one thing I forgot to put in here was the archery and the bolts. So I'll just go and put another couple of stockpiles in. That will be for the bows, and then I'll just put another stockpile in next to that for the actual bolts themselves. Yeah, that one there. Oh, damn it! Right clicked on it. Do that again. Accept. This is going to be for weapons. And do another one. And just next to that one will just be for the bolt. So you sort of get a bit of a picture as to what's what. And so when we have a look at the number of bins that are in these different things, we can then think, okay, look, we've got heaps of something, we need to get something else. Like it sort of will give us a bit of a clue as to what's going on. We'll just accept that one. This is going to be ammo, back in through this side. We'll just go to custom in this case. So the type we want to have is none. We just want to have bolts. Metal, I will accept any metal in this case. Other materials, I'm going to go none. I only want metal stuff in through here. Core quality, total quality is fine. So the ammo is nice and easy. This one through here, again, just going to go to custom. Just going to go to none for the weapons. Actually, we'll go none with all of that and just go to weapons and then have the crossbows. That's what we'll allow through there. Out of metal. Again, this will be out of pretty much anything. It doesn't really matter. I'll just go all in this case. So any crossbow will be fine. It doesn't really matter what they're made out of. The core quality, in fact, even that'll be okay. Just go all with that one. All with that one. Usable weapons only. That'll do us. Okay, so that's now got the whole lot then arranged. So over time, that will then start to fill up with bins of useful information. Not information, useful stuff. Now, if we go down to the bottom of the fortress, just to finish this one off, we do actually have, now these in through here, what have we got? This is finished goods, and I know that we've got weaponry in some of these. That's finished goods, bins. We've got bars and blocks, bins down through this side. Yeah, we've got granite blocks, that's okay. Gem bins, finished goods down through this side, bars and blocks. I thought we had some weapon bins down here as well. There's an armor bin. And so you can sort of see that there are some things that are actually down in here. So I think I don't want to have, well, actually I probably do want to have a bit of a catch-all. Yeah, I do want to have a bit of a catch-all here. What I might do is go and push this one up. I'm going to have to do it to every single one of them. Okay, look, I'll still do it anyway. So we're going to, no, I won't do it. I was just thinking I would actually end up taking it from here and placing it back upstairs. What else have we got? Armor. There's more armor down through here again. What I could do is be to just create like more armor and weapons so that it's not just here. Yeah, I might do that for everything else. So what we'll do is we'll end up with another big bin somewhere else of just all of the other bits and pieces that we don't know where else to place it. So let's just go across to custom, and we'll turn off armor. So no armor, no ammunition, and I'll just create a catch-all. And weapons and traps, I'll just go no actual weapons. That way we can then start to bring them deeper into the fortress. So we'll just go back to F3 again, up the top in through here, and we just need a bin of this stuff in through here. I think I might just position this way over here, so we end up with like just accept that one, and this can be armor. I'll just start that way, then we go to custom. So ammo, we'll just go all, and what else is there? Weapons. I shall go all there, but I'll just go none of those, none of those, none of those. Okay, so that'll just be all of the different sorts of weapons that we can actually then have. That should be it, I think. So that should then get us what we need. The armor, the weapons, the ammo. Yep, so anything else really will just end up, and it could still be that we end up with some iron stuff in there as well, so I'll have to do a better sort of that. I can always then push, this is going to be our catch-all essentially for most things, and we can then sort of have it so that it then gets distributed. But anyway, that does, wow, this is a long episode, this one here, but we have actually done a lot of sorting. We've done a lot of investigation now as well. So the fortress is sort of now thumping along, and this little arrangement here, for me, makes sense. I can sort of pick and choose it. I can see what's, like by the little character, I can sort of see what's actually happening there as to what's what. It may be an idea for us to, for example, just go back into this one and just repaint that one a little bit. Just make it go a little bit higher. That'll be okay, accept. And so, yeah, that'll just end up filling up with bins, and happy days. That should be good. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching. And actually, there's our soap manufacturing. I haven't actually kicked this one into gear yet, and I've got to do that as well. I might just do that in the next episode, or not in the next episode, but I'll just do it. I've already done it once before, so you've sort of seen how to do it. I'll just do that one outside of the actual recordings. I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.